5 National League Eastern Division Series. The defending world champion Philadelphia Phillies, the first half champions, trying to repeat last year's World Series win. Managed by Dallas Green, the Phils led the league in hits and runs scored and feature Pete Rose, the incomparable Mr. Hustle, now the all-time National League leader in base hits. The power for the Phils, Mike Schmidt, last year's MVP and a solid choice again this year. Schmidt led the majors in home runs and RBIs. And on the mound, Steve Carlton, 3-time Cy Young Award winner. No left-hander in Major League history has ever struck out as many hitters as Carlton, who starts Game 1 against the Montreal Expos, who brought the second half Eastern Championship to Olympic Stadium. They're managed in the final month by 54-year-old Jim Fanning, who moved from the front office to the Montreal dugout. Expos led by their All-Star Game MVP catcher Gary Carter, his enthusiasm contagious, and their talented center fielder Andre Dawson, second to Schmidt in home runs. Dawson combines his power with speed and a Golden Glove. The Montreal Expos, the first Canadian entry in the playoffs. NBC Sports presents the National League Division Series. Today from Olympic Stadium, it's the Philadelphia Phillies and the Montreal Expos. The National League Division Series is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer, who invites you to test drive the 1982 Ford cars and trucks. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Acme Boots, makers of Acme Real Western Boots. And by improved Prestone 2 antifreeze. It locks out rust and corrosion. Olympic Stadium, Montreal, Canada. Weather permitting, Game 1 of the Division Series between the Montreal Expos and the Philadelphia Phillies. Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Enberg, and this is the start of the playoffs in a most unusual 1981 National League season, featuring, of course, the 50-day strike that separated the first and second half winners, but a year in which there were some outstanding highlights. Steve Carlton, now the all-time National League pitcher in strikeouts. Pete Rose, now the all-time National Leaguer in hits. And, of course, Nolan Ryan with an unprecedented 5th no-hitter. And there was even some magic in the old-timers department. Our partner today, Tom Seaver, fashioned a 14-2 record at the age 36, and that also was an outstanding moment in National League 1981.
Well, Dick, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I certainly would like to be here on the field, but, of course, if I can't be on the field playing, it's nice to be back working with NBC again.
A quick look at Montreal and Philadelphia. Can we zero in on something that will be a key to this series?
Well, I think not to beat a dead horse, but as everybody might say, in a short series, pitching looks like it's going to be the key, definitely.
We're going to go chat with Jim Fanning of the Expos. You have the Phillies skipper.
Right, I've got one of the principals here in this playoff, Dallas Green, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And Dallas, you've gone through a second half of a season where really your ball club, a world champion ball club, has not had to win. Do you think it's going to be a problem to motivate your players, get them out there, and get them back into the mental attitude of having to win ball games?
Well, Tommy, it worried me early in the second half of the season because I've got the old light bulb theory with this ball club. We've got great talent, and it seemed at times we were able to turn that talent on and score a lot of runs and do the things we're very capable of. Other days we turned the light bulb off and nothing happened, and we end up with a 0 and with an L. We didn't play very well early, but the latter part of this second half season, I've seen some of the consistency that has made the Philadelphia Phillies last year world champions, and hopefully we'll keep going in this playoff series and go right on through.
One of the strong points of your ball club, the fellow that has developed in probably the best pitcher in baseball in the last 3 or 4 years, Steve Carlton, and he's on the mound for you today. He's a big part of this story here at Olympic Stadium.
No question about it. Lefty, I can't say enough about Lefty. He's been everything we've asked of him. He's just been fabulous in terms of being a very, very consistent winner. Consistent pitcher, and every time he goes out there, our baseball team, and I'm talking about all 25 guys, they know we're in a ball game, and we're going to be in one today.
We are now moving forward in this program.
Last of the second inning, Carlton works to rookie Tim Wallach. Wallach with a .236 season and 4 home runs. Here are the dimensions at Olympic Stadium. Down each line, it's 325 feet, 99 meters, 114 meters or 375 feet in the alleys, and that's where Wallach sends that line drive. Wallach going to try for two. That's what you were talking about, Tom Seaver. That wet carpet, and that ball skidded on center fielder Lonnie Smith.
That's one of the things that's really changed the game of baseball is the AstroTurf, and especially when it gets wet. The speed of the baseball going across that surface has really accentuated the need to have outfield speed. Defensive outfield speed is just paramount importance.
They're going to score that as a double. Wallach. Chance for the Expos to break the 1-1 tie here in the bottom of the second. Jerry Manuel up only 55 times all year with 11 hits. There's that Carlton slider. Brings it down and into the right-handed hitters.
Well, he tries to get it down and in. The last pitch he got up, it was hit for a double, and the one to Carter he got up as well. But if he gets it down, he's going to be very, very tough. But he's made 2 mistakes with it. A good point that we talked about yesterday, last night as we were watching the Astros and the Dodgers plays. The big league hitters, they don't miss those pitches when you do get it out.
Soft line drive to Boa for the first out of the inning. Chris Spire, Boa's counterpart, shortstop of the Expos, steps in. Spire could become a free agent after the season, playing his 5 years. Former University of California, Santa Barbara. One of the many collegians on this Expo roster. They're talking about that during the course of the series, that like a college all-star team as Montreal club. They've really gone for the college athlete. All those years that Carlton and McCarver were the battery, and then the Boone, and now suddenly things do change, and Moreland with his bat, he's in there handling Carlton. He got that one up. Here comes Wallach on a double by Spire. It's 2-1 Montreal.
Ball right up in the strike zone. Spire jumps all over it. Wallach has hit a double. Carter with a home run. You just can't make those kind of mistakes to major league hitters, and those are not the kind of pitches that Steve Carlton normally is going to make during the season. Obviously, it's obvious that he's not very sharp out there today yet. I mean, he's got to get his act together. He's still only 1 run down. He's still in the ball game, certainly, but he's got to stop making those kinds of mistakes.
As you pointed out, Carlton allowed the Expos only 2 runs in 19 innings this year. He's allowed 2 in 2 innings today. Steve Rogers, he had 8 hits and 55 at-bats, works out at 145, knocked in 3 runs. Chance to help himself out. In the other National League Division Series, the Dodgers and Houston in the 3rd are scoreless. That's Jerry Royce, the left-hander for Los Angeles, against right-hander Joe Niekro of Houston. Yeah, they were talking down the clubhouse before the game today about Nolan Ryan, and some of the players saying they've never seen Ryan pitch a better game than last night against the Dodgers. 2-hitter. Rogers is punched out. That's the 3rd strikeout for Carlton. Carlton.
Steve called the best in baseball, in my opinion. No disregards to you, Tom. But lefty doesn't give me anything to hit. He's going to be awful tough to hit. Throws a lot of sliders, a lot of breaking ball. Once in a while, he even drops down on the side. So to me, I think it's going to be very difficult for me to try to get a good pitch to hit off him. But I'm going to try and battle him, make him throw low pitches out there, and try to set a tempo for our ball club.
On the appeal, they say did not go around. Ooh. Call made by Billy Williams at 3rd. connection. He says they're the I-95 team. Andre Dawson and Warren Cromartie migrating north to Montreal. A little off that pitch, and it's 2-1. We're in the last of the second. Montreal on a brace of doubles, taking the lead 2-1. 2 outs, and Spyrer at second base. Excuse me, foul ball. Well, that's what Cromartie was talking about. That was a wicked breaking ball.
Not going to get much to hit. He's exactly right. And Carlton has thrown a lot of breaking balls, a lot of curve balls, and a high percentage of sliders. He really believes in that slider. A lot of pitching coaches will tell you, you throw that slider too much, your fastball is going to go out the window. But it's been so effective for Steve, he certainly relies on it the majority of the time.
Just missed outside with a fastball.
You can see Moreland shift outside of that pitch. And sometimes I would give a pitch away to a hitter. You see that catcher shift out there, you know it's going to be a slider.
And for Carlton, he matches the 2 strikeouts of the first inning with 2 more in the second. But on doubles by Wallach and Spyrer, Montreal back in front. After 2 at Olympic Stadium, it's the Expos 2, the Phils 1. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Art Howe had a 23-game hitting streak earlier this year, and Smith matched that. Best in the senior side. The Astrodome, excuse me, Tom. You just want to duck in, no score in the last of the third now.
You look at the guy that Lonnie Smith replaced, and Gary Maddox, who many consider the finest center fielder in baseball, but Dallas Green really likes this young kid Smith.
Good off speed. One and 2 the count. It'll be Smith followed by Rose and Matthews in the Phil's third. Steve Rogers. Pete Rose, who led the National League in hits for the 8th time. That's an all-time record. His thoughts about his opponent, right-hander Steve Rogers.
Well, he works me all around. The last time we was here, I wasn't swinging the bat real well. I went 0 for 9, but we had a 17-inning game that night. But he was trying to jam me with the fastball. But he's got a good breaking ball and a good fastball and a good sinker, and you just have to be patient with him, and he'll give you a pitch to hit.
Rose with a base hit into the alley in left center. He's going for 2. Rose grounded into a double play his first time up. Whistles a double to left center with 1 out in the Phil's third. And we use the word amazing so often to describe Rose. I'll ask you what your adjective is.
Well, he is an amazing guy. You get that ball out over the plate, and he can rifle that ball up in the alley. Another example how that ball will scoot on this AstroTurf. You can see it scoot right by Jerry White, but a fine play by Dawson backing up. There it goes. You think you've got it timed, and you don't even have to look at Pete Rose. You know he's going to go for second anyway. He only plays one way, and that's hard.
Another tying run in scoring position with 1 out, and Matthews and Schmidt with a chance to knock him home. Manuel's been busy. Rose goes to third on the 4-3 putout. 4th chance for Jerry Manuel. And here's Mike Schmidt now with a runner at third and 2 outs in the first inning. Rogers obviously pitched around Schmidt. We'll see what he does this time. Look at the crowd. 58,000 the capacity for baseball at Olympic Stadium, and a good turnout on a day where it rained until about an hour before game time.
Rogers in the identical situation that he had in the first inning. The only difference being Pete Rose down there instead of Gary Matthews. One thing as a pitcher that you can do is to take one guy out of that lineup and not let him beat you. Just put him on first base, you know, go ahead and walk him, pitch around him, not an intentional walk, but pitch around him, and just tell him, go over in first base so I know where you are. But you're not going to hit the ball out, you're not going to hurt me. He did it in the first inning. I think it was obvious, and we'll see if he does it here in this situation.
Well, that's 5 pitches from Rogers to
center field alley if you throw that slider out over the plate. I mean, he's as strong as anybody that's playing this game right now. And he might have to be a little bit more aggressive at the plate in this situation.
2 balls and a strike. That ball high and away, 3-1. On deck, you can see Bake McBride. Has not allowed a hit to the Houston Astros as the Dodgers and Astros are scoreless in the top of the 4th in Houston. Here it's Montreal in front, 2-1. The batter, Andre Dawson. He was called out on strikes his first time up. Actually went around on a check swing. The elite Madlock and Rose going into September and had a tough last month of the year. His average dropping from 325 down to 301. Well, he certainly does tease that balk rule, doesn't he?
Carlton at 4 during the year. He gets as close as he can get over there without committing it.
Power against power, Carlton and Dawson. White with no one out at first base. Missed away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dawson is now the highest paid athlete in all of Canada. Davy Concepcion, the highest paid athlete in all of Ohio now. Moreland's throw not nearly in time. Jerry White has his second stolen base, so with the absence of Raines other than as a pinch runner with a broken hand and Rodney Scott out, White picks up the load.
Well, the people in Montreal here say that Jerry White's the best 4th outfielder in baseball and it can fill in as well as anybody. Does a superb job and has outstanding speed. Got the base hit off of Carlton and steals second base rather easily.
Had only 5 stolen bases all year. But Dawson unable to move him along as strikeout. Gary Carter, the hitter. He doubled off the left field wall his first time up. Carter. Tom asked him what makes Montreal tick.
I think what makes the Montreal Expos tick is just certainly the fact that we've got a great deal of character, a great deal of heart. We've got an excellent pitching staff, and our overall talent is excellent as well. We've got some key figures there. We've got some good speed, and that's the reason why we're there today.
Now you heard the boos in the background as Carlton is going to walk Carter intentionally. Set up the possible double play and turnabout's fair play. Schmidt, they worked around Schmidt in the first inning, and now the cleanup man for the Expos, Carter, is walked intentionally. Steve Boros, the first base coach, talking with Carter. One out, and Larry Parrish, the man who made that defensive play, gets a hand from this crowd. They've been on his back a little bit in Montreal this year.
They were on his back because of the poor year that he was having at the plate. He's been suffering with an injured wrist for about a year and a half, and it's really affected his hitting.
Check swing, and the runners are going to advance. Slider bouncing in the dirt, and Moreland unable to come up with it cleanly. So with one out, runners at second and third.
With that slider, Carlton will have a great number of wild pitches. He had 9 during the season, but he'll get it in there and off the inside part of that plate, and that ball bounces down in that dirt. It's very difficult for the catcher. He will have some wild pitches. 2 men in scoring position now. Takes away the double play.
Inside, and Moreland moving quickly. 2 balls and a strike. Infield, as you can see, in tight, Schmidt, Boa, Trio, and Rose. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Parrish coming on at the close of the year, delivering some big hits. Again, Moreland skidding inside.
Parrish said that with that bad wrist, he tried to make a lot of adjustments in his movement to the ball, started lunging. He's a good hitter. If he'll take the ball and try and hit it up the middle or go to right center field with it. If he doesn't do that, then he's in trouble.
1 out, runners at second and third. 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. So Steve Carlton, with 1 out, finds the bases full of Expos. Parrish at first. Carter, who was intentionally walked, moves to second. Wide at third, and the batter is Tim Wallach. He hit a double to left center his first time up. Former All-American at Cal State Fullerton. Oh, and a good cut at that one.
It's one of the few fastballs you've seen Steve throw into the strike zone. Steve is, we're not seeing from Steve Carlton the kind of performance that we would expect from him yet today.
And we're having some activity now in the Philadelphia bullpen. Mike Crowley begins to tune up. 2-1. Well, here's a big pitch, Tom.
He's got behind a lot of hitters, and it looks to me as if his front side is flying open. You can see the bullpen for the Philadelphia Phillies, but it looks like Steve's front side, his right side, as he delivers the ball, seems to be flying open. He has been getting a lot of breaky balls up into the strike zone. Those are the pitches that he's been hurt with.
Ball 3. So Carlton has to throw a strike, or he throws the Expos a run. Bases loaded, 1 out. 3-1 pitch. High to left field. Tagging is White, but Boa goes out into shallow left to make the catch, and everyone will hold tight. So Wallach had a 3-1 fastball, but couldn't drive in the run.
That is a big out for Steve Carlton. He's 1 pitch away from walking a runner in. He has to go to his fastball. position. 3 and run right down the middle while it gets under it a little bit.
Bottom of the third inning in Montreal's Olympic Stadium. Steve Carlton giving up a run in the first, another in the second, and now has the bases loaded, 2 out in the third. The Expos lead the Phils 2-1. A home run by Keith Moreland had tied the game for Philadelphia in the second after the Expos scored in the first inning on a single, force out, and a double by Gary Carter. Then doubles in the third by Wallach and Spire gave Montreal a 2-1 lead. Now in the third, bases loaded, and Tim Wallach has just popped to short on a 3-1 pitch. As Carlton now with 2 gone and facing Jerry Manuel. He sent a soft line out to shortstop his first at bat. 1 ball and 1 strike. Henry Tata's strike call reverberating around Olympic Stadium. Did he? Yes. 1 and 2. Carlton not wasting any time now. He's getting that ball, wants to throw it. Manuel backs out. Outside 2-2. Manuel's in there as a starter. Rodney Scott, who injured his shoulder about a week ago, diving for play in Pittsburgh, taken off the active roster just prior to the game. Oh my! Now it's 3-2. Bases loaded. The runners go. Strike 3. So Carlton, with the bases loaded and 1 out on a 3-1 pitch, induces Wallach to pop up and then strikes out Manuel on a 3-2 pitch to end the inning. We've completed 3 innings in Montreal. The Expos 2, the Phillies 1. What's the old Victor Borga line? Pardon my back, but pardon my front. Dick Enberg, Tom Seaver. We're at Olympic Stadium. This is our point of view as we look out at Steve Rogers facing Bake McBride, Keith Moreland, and Larry Bowa at the top of the 4th inning, 2-1 Philadelphia. Well, again, congratulations, Tom, on your great season, 14-2.
Well, as you say, not bad for an old guy.
Yes, sir, like good wine. I imagine you're happy about the news regarding Concepcion's signing. The Reds could ill afford to lose his talents.
The news last night coming out of Cincinnati that David had signed a 5-year contract, and that's outstanding news for our ball club. He is a prime player for us.
McBride slashes 1 foul. Don't forget, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, it'll be Game 2 of this series. Right-hander Dick Ruthven, 12-7, scheduled to go against right-hander Bill Gullickson of Montreal. All of it right here on NBC. Well, Manuel had to earn his way today. That's 5 chances for the second baseman.
Rodney Scott, who is the normal second baseman here, everyday second baseman for the Montreal Expos, is rated as an outstanding second. 2 fine second basemen in this game, in Trio and Rodney Scott, but Jerry Manuel making it look easy out there.
Now McBride out on the ground ball to the second baseman, and here's Keith Moreland. He homered over the center field fence his first time up. I understand that Jerry Royce of the Dodgers, now working in the 5th inning in Houston, has not as yet allowed a base hit. No score in that game.
That's the kind of pitching that Steve Rogers is going to be effective with. Strikes low in the strike zone. Come off the mound. We talked about him a little bit early. Sometimes he'll overthink or be too self-critical. An 0-2 pitch, which you're certainly trying to set something up. He throws a good low pitch out of the strike zone, and he's pointing to his left shoulder. Boy, I got to keep my left shoulder in it. Of course, it could be a little bit of theatrics for the hitter to look at too. Let the hitter have something to see out there. Of course, Moreland took him deep last time at the plate.
After fouling off a couple of pitches on the corner, he got one he could handle. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Whoops. season in the red, white, and blue of Montreal. Ball grounded to second, his first at bat. Carter guessing they might have a little hit and run in the works. 2-1, the Expos lead here in the top of the fourth. Second out as Moreland moves into second base. 2 out to Manny Trio. Yesterday the playoffs began, and the Dodgers were defeated by the Houston Astros 3-1. Pitching of Ryan, a 2-hitter, and Alan Ashby, a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th inning to win it dramatically for the Astros. And in the West, too much Mike Norris for the Kansas City Royals as the A's of Billy Martin win the opener 4-0. Consider the plays made by infielders and outfielders with the big gloves, and then the catcher with that big pancake, and how he can able to scoop up one hoppers left and right and make it look so easy.
Well, the guy that can make it look easy is Gary Carter, probably the finest defensive catcher in the game. For a big man, the mobility that he does have is truly amazing. He's no small fella back there.
Great hands. Low again, and it's 2-0 to Trio. Of course, the pitcher Carlton is on deck, and with first base open, Rogers working delicately to Trio. Better hurry this weather, it won't be a hot dog. We understand now, Tom Seaver, that Jerry Royce is not only pitching a no-hitter, but has not allowed a base runner against the Houston Astros in that game in the Dome. Now they're going to finish the job and walk Trio intentionally. So that's the second walk allowed by Rogers, and brings up Carlton. Or will it? Yes, it will. Here he comes. Fouled out to third. That was a good play made by Parrish, who's been the defensive wizard thus far, with a nice play to take that foul pop out of the stands, and then handling the bullet off the bat of Schmidt. Close out the third. Two on, 2 out, 2-1 Montreal. Looks like a hitter. Now is the best hitting pitcher in the National League.
I would imagine the fellow that's over on the Philadelphia bench, Larry Christensen, has got to be rated as one, if not the top hitting pitchers in the league.
Back through the middle, and Spire gets no, he's safe, and now they have the runner picked off third for Moreland.
To the bag. Bruce Frommey calls him safe, but Keith Moreland caught off third base. Larry Parrish right there to put the third out on the Philadelphia Phillies.
Now Carlton credited with an infield hit. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left for Philadelphia. Expos stay in front 2-1.
It's got to be a bad play by Keith Moreland there, Dick. You think about it, going around that bag. You either got to go all the way or stay close enough to the bag where you can't get thrown out on the play for second base. A good heads-up play. Let's look at the defensive aspect. Good heads-up play by Jerry Manuel at second.
Now it's Chris Spire. It's his double back in the second inning. The difference in the game at the moment as Montreal leads 2-1. Grew up in the Giants organization. in Kansas City. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. That's NFL football next Sunday on NFL 81 on NBC. Rogers squaring and Carlton having some problems.
To say that Steve Carlton is struggling is an understatement, really. And you get the 8th place hitter with the pitcher leading behind, hitting behind him in this situation where you know that the pitcher is going to bump the ball. Well, that's next to a Cardinal sin for a pitcher. Get a run to second base in scoring position with the top of the lineup coming up.
So a walk and a sacrifice, and the Expos have Spira perched at second with only one out.
Right up on the top of that bat, and especially against a guy like a Carlton who can bring the slider in on you. you could end up with a couple of broken fingers if you're not careful.
Of course, that seems safe enough being up there to sacrifice, but ask Don Sutton about the dangers of bunting. He was trying to bunt against Jerry Royce, and Royce nailed him on the right kneecap and put him out of the playoffs. Cromartie, a single and a strikeout. Pitching matchup, we expect to see a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings, but that's not been the case. Neither pitcher has been able to knock down the side in order yet.
There's the first fastball that Warren Cromartie has seen off of Steve Carlton. Last time up when he struck out, threw him all breaking balls, curveballs, sliders, everything going out away from him.
2-1. Another breaking ball, no one away, so it's 3-1 to Cromartie. To load the bases and got out of the inning only when he got Wallach on a 3-1 pitch and Manuel on a 3-2 delivery. And now he's walked the leadoff man here in the 5th, and he's 3-1 to Cromartie. Hit well down the left field line. That's trouble. Here comes Spira to score on a double by Cromartie.
About the mistakes that Carlton is making, getting the breaking ball up in the strike zone. He threw all breaking balls to Cromartie last time, and here he goes with the slider out over the plate again, and Cromartie goes with the pitch extremely well. It's a double down in that left field corner. Steve just making a lot of mistakes, a lot of pitches up in the strike zone with his breaking ball.
Jerry White safe on a fielder's choice and scored in the first and singled his last time up. That's 6 hits now for the Expos. Phil's also with 6 hits. Won a home run by Moreland for their only run, but Montreal now with a 2-run lead, and Cromartie at second, 1 out. Mike Crowley, right-hander, tuning up again for Philadelphia. It is no secret that Philadelphia, after Carlton and Ruthven, struggling in that starting rotation, whereas the Expos have their 4 starters set. So Carlton is so critical for Philadelphia for him to pitch well and to win today. Otherwise, no question that the Expos are in the catbird seat.
Especially when you look at the fact that behind Carlton, Ruthven did not have a good second half either, Jeff. And the plus, playing here at Jerry Park, Steve Carlton has to win for these Expos. He's got to get his game on track.
2-2 pitch misses. You're showing your age there. You said here at Jerry Park?
Jerry Park, that's right. Olympic Stadium, that's right. The old ballpark where the Montreal Expos used to play was called Jerry Park before they moved here to Olympic Stadium.
Ripped, and Schmidt has the runner hung up. He'll try to get in a rundown, but meanwhile, White has gone on to first base and did not take the turn, and now they throw back to first, and that was a live play. He had turned toward the infield coming back to first. You could see Cromartie saying, try to make your move towards second if I can get in a rundown, but Whitehead is back to the play running down the line.
Mike Schmidt, the outstanding third baseman in the National League. chase him back, boom, give the ball behind to Manny Trio. One more throw, and that ought to do it right there. There's Larry Bow. That's the way the play should be made.
And White now, remember, he has 2 stolen bases. He's stolen second both times aboard. And, of course, that one steal in the first inning helped the Expos, in that Carter followed with a double to score him. 3-1 Montreal, and Carlton keeping an eye on the runner. There he goes. They got him picked off. Caught stealing. 1, 3, 4. And that's it for the Expos in the 4th. They score a run, however, on the leadoff walk and the double by Cromartie, and no one left on. After 4, it's 3-1 Montreal. Back after these messages from your local station. Dick Enberg and Tom Seaver at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The totals after 4 innings. Montreal 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Expos have left 5. The Phils 1 run, 6 hits, no errors. They too have stranded 5 runners. Leading it off, it'll be Lonnie Smith and Pete Rose and Gary Matthews in the Phils' 5th inning. Smith, 1 for 2, a single, and then struck out. A .324 hitter on the season. And he's now hit safely with a hit today in 24 consecutive games. Let's reset the defense for you. The battery of Rogers and Carter. Parrish at third, Spire at short. Manuel and Cromartie on the right side of the infield. White in left, Dawson in center, and Wallach in right. Out of play. Rogers collects coins and Indian arrowheads. And, of course, here would like to collect a big scalp, get the Phillies in the opener. Or you win that first game, a 5-game series, and you reduce things to rather simple mathematics. Pounded off home plate, and Spire gets him. Pete Rose grounded into a double play in the first inning and doubled to left center in the 3rd. The 2 teams in the National League who have enjoyed home cooking most of all. The Expos with the best record in the National League, and the Phils not too far behind. They were the 2 winningest home teams in the league. And the Phils were commenting the advantage Montreal has is that opponents usually are playing in foul weather and they don't like it. And if it's your home field, it always seems rosy. Did you look forward to coming up here to pitch in Montreal?
You know, I get asked that question a lot about every ballpark that I go to, Dick, and a lot of it depends on how you're throwing. The one place that I don't particularly like to pitch is in the Astrodome. It's so unusual, and it's difficult for hitters to see down there. Hitters that come in, the visiting players.
Another solid base hit by Rose. Well, that was right out of his autobiography. Just hang some wash on that line drive, and that's the 7th Phil's hit, but Rogers has managed to scatter them well enough and leads 3-1. With 1 out, Jim Fanning checking his lineup card. Gary Matthews, a triple and 2 at-bats, is the hitter.
Rogers in 3 games against the Phillies this year was 2-1. It's 23 in a 3rd innings against him. Gave up 27 hits. Earned run average of 5.02 against the Phillies this year. But one of those games that he did win was a 9-6 win.
Apparently Houston finally did get a base hit off Royce. There's still no score. In the top of the 6th in Houston. Dodgers and the Astros in game 2. Dodgers trying to even things out before they go to Los Angeles. And of course Houston looking for that big 2-game edge before moving west. Could be 2. Spire, Manuel, Cromartie, double play. lefty Steve Carlton. Dawson has gone down swinging both times facing Carlton, who has 6 strikeouts and has walked 3, given up 6 hits and 3 runs. 3-1 Montreal. Hit well to right. Big McBride has to play the carom. Dawson going for 3. He's got it. Carlton backed up the throw, and Dawson a leadoff triple in the 5th.
We talked earlier about Andre Dawson being a Willie Mays type of player. He gets a pitch out over the plate and drives it down to that right field corner. Big McBride couldn't get to it. Dawson, who had 26 stolen bases during the year, along with those 24 home runs, has outstanding speed. A very aggressive player, sliding headfirst into 3rd, and there's Steve Carlton backing up the play. Good play by the pitcher.
And good camera work. Gary Carter, and Schmidt holds the runner at 3rd. Carter unable to deliver the run. That's 1 out. Brings up Larry Parrish. The Expos with a chance to add to that 3-1 lead here in the 5th inning. Parrish has struck out and walked. Dickie Thon of the Astros, the infielder, ruined Royce's bid for postseason immortality. About this time, threw that perfecto against the Dodgers. 1956, wasn't it? Mike Crowley throwing again in the bullpen for Philadelphia. And the countdown 2-0 to Parrish. There's the right-hander Crowley. 2 balls and a strike. Standing at 3rd as he comes down the line. 3-2. Popped him up. Right up the elevator shaft, and it's Moreland with the out. So Parrish fouls out to the catcher Moreland. And Parrish, an unhappy Expo, going back to the dugout.
If you run the count to 3-2 or get behind 2-0, 3-1, the hitter has the advantage. And with Carlton, it looks like Larry Parrish is certainly guessing slider, and that's exactly what he got too. And it was up in the strike zone. You could tell he was upset that he missed it. He had a good pitch to drive, and he missed it.
They're going to walk Wallach intentionally. That'll be the 4th free ticket from Carlton, 2 intentionally. They'll take their chances on the lighter hitting Jerry Manuel. They really like Wallach, who played first base in college, but they say that he can really handle himself well at 3rd and in the outfield as he's playing today. Good hands and good power. Hit 36 home runs in the minors last year. Herb Storetta, the pitching coach, and Dallas Green. Pretty intent expressions down in that Philly dugout. The Expos really one big swing away from breaking this one wide open on several occasions today. They lead 3-1.
Talking about breaking the game open, is it where you have to give credit to the veteran pitcher like Carlton. Even though he's pitched poorly, he's been behind a lot of hitters.
A couple of Expos aboard in the 5th inning. No runs. He pitches around a leadoff triple by Dawson. And after 5 in Montreal, Expos 3, Phils 1. The Pocket Rocket, Henri Richard. His older brother, Maurice the Rocket. Two great names in National Hockey League history, and of course, great favorites of these marvelous fans in Montreal. One of the things that I was hoping we'd be able to do, Tom, while we're up here, is see a game at the Forum as the NHL season just beginning. They open tomorrow night. We'll be busy here. Mike Schmidt against Steve Rogers. Top of the 6th inning, and the Phils are down by 2. 3-1 Expos. Smothers that one foul. Tom chatted with Mike Schmidt before the game and asked Mike how he thought Steve Rogers would work to him today.
Well, from Steve Rogers, I'll see a little bit of everything. I'm going to try to run the count deep on him as much as I can. I don't like to swing at the first pitch when Steve's pitching. I like to try and get a 2-0 count on him, a 3-1 count. I think it's important to a hitter as myself that I wait for a good pitch to hit. And if I don't get one, to go on down to first base with a walk, because I have people coming up behind me that can do the job also.
Outside, so in this case, Schmidt down 0-2, but he certainly has followed his words accurately today. He walked in the 1st inning patiently, 4 pitches, then he got 3-1 and drilled one to 3rd, and Parrish made the defensive play of the game. Chase that one. For Rogers, his 3rd strikeout.
Schmidt went after 2 bad pitches during that time at bat. He fouled one off down toward 3rd on a fastball out and away, and that's a good curveball, Mike, way out in front. Ball out of the strike zone. We talked before about Mike Schmidt being very patient. He gets very upset when he swings at a bad pitch like that.
Bake McBride called out on strikes and grounded to 2nd. Tomorrow night it'll be Ruthven for the Phils, Gullickson for Montreal, 8 o'clock Eastern Time here on NBC. 0-2 to McBride. Is Rogers the kind of pitcher that can close his own deal? Is he a 9-inning pitcher?
Steve coming back from an arm operation can't close the team out, most certainly.
Jerry White running that one down in shallow left field for the 2nd out in the 6th inning. A reminder, folks, on Saturday, a big Boxing Day on NBC Sports World as Sports World returns for the fall season with not one but a chance to watch 2 World Championship bouts. You'll see the middleweight champion Marvin Hagler take on #1 contender Ham Show, and the heavyweight champion Mike Weaver, WBA champ, against James Quick Tillis. That's Saturday on NBC Sports World, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. They replays of those 2 outstanding bouts. Moreland, a home run and a single. Fouls that one back. One ball, 1 strike. In case you're wondering about long balls hit here in Olympic Stadium, there are a couple we'd like to talk about. We'll get a moment. We'll show you the marks. Fouled out of play. Although maybe it won't be possible. Willie Stargell, they painted a sea gold out in right field. And apparently somebody's sitting in it out there. That's Barbara Rogers, wife of Steve, rooting for her husband. Fouled at the plate. But a more incredible shot is one hit by Dave Kingman that hit the facade in left field and provoked an unusual marking for the foul pole here at Olympic Stadium. We'll get a chance. We'll show you down the left and right field line. The foul pole screen is extended by paint right up into the roof, just in case King Kong comes back. Little soft liner to Manuel, and the inning is over. For the first time today, a pitcher retires the side in order as the Phils go down 1-2-3 in the 6th. Coming up in the bottom of the 6th inning for Montreal, it'll be Spire, Rogers, and Cromartie. Expos in front, 3-1. 6th inning. He has an RBI double, walked and scored, so he's been a part of 2 of the 3 Montreal runs today. Carlton has given up 7 hits and 4 walks in the first 5 innings and trails 3-1. That one fouled off first, and Rose will take a look at that one becoming a souvenir. Jogging down the right field line and will begin warming up for Montreal, the left-hander. Former collegiate at USC along with Tom Seaver. One and 2 to Spire. We could see him come out if he gets on base, and Tim Raines could pinch run for him. Thinking of Fanning as any time from the 6th inning on. Raines, who is part of the 25-man roster, the brilliant rookie outfielder who broke his hand in Chicago a few weeks ago, would come in as a pinch runner. Pick the right spot. Of course, if Spire should walk, we might just see that. Still no score in Houston in the last of the 6th inning. Royce against Niekro. Well, they've featured some outstanding pitching in the first 2 games. He's aboard. Now let's see if Fanning plays the card.
Second time in a row that Carlton has walked Spire leading off the inning. There's a shot of that foul pole in left field. As you go way to the top, you can see an orange line start on the roof that extends out to the overhang in this place, Olympic Stadium. There it goes.
I looked at that yesterday when I first came in here. I wondered, what in the world? Why would they paint all the way up onto the roof? And you told me why. Foul ball on the bunt try by Rogers.
That ball was hit up there by Dave Kingman when I was still with the New York Mets. It was down the left field line. Bruce Fromming, who we just see right there at second base today, was a third base umpire. It was a cloudy, overcast day, and you really couldn't see the ball. You'd lose the ball to get up so high. It doesn't seem possible, and everybody, at least the players, thought the ball was fair. Bruce called it foul. The ball bounced back in, hit in behind shortstop.
Boy, that is a mammoth shot. Rogers almost had him picked off first base as Spire stumbled going back to the bag. Moreland hesitated, and by the time he gunned the ball down there, it was too late.
A bench situation. Certainly Chris Spire trying to get as big a jump off in case the ball is laid down. He stumbles going back. That's why it became a close play at first base. Trio coming in behind the runner, and a good throw, but too late to get Spire.
When Spire led off the 4th inning with a walk, he eventually scored on the double by Cromartie.
Certainly Carlton is not very sharp. It's obvious. Marjorie Cromartie, they're enjoying the game here at Olympic today.
Well, she's got a nice face, just like her son.
Just happy face. Beautiful smile, just like her son is right.
Bunted foul by Rogers, and that runs the count to 2-2. Both bullpens busy at the moment. Ron Reed has joined Mike Proley down in the Philly pen, and Billy throwing easily for Montreal. Good bunt by Rogers. Rose a little trouble fielding it, but Rogers was not running all out. So Rogers does his job, again sacrificing Spire to second base. That was the formula back in the 4th.
Sacrifice Spire on a very difficult pitch, too. That slider down and in, which is a very difficult pitch. And Rose bobbles the ball. Had Rogers been running hard, conceivably an error on Pete, or they might have given him a hit. But here's another shot from the center field camera. Very difficult pitch to bunt. May look easy sitting at home in your living room, but that is a tough pitch to bunt.
And the way Rogers bunts it, he only uses about 12 inches at the end of the bat. Cromartie. Single, struck out, and doubled in a run in the 4th inning. 2 for 3. Excuse me, roller to Rose. And there's 2 away. On to third goes Spire, and it's up to Jerry White. Anderson scored in the first on a double by Carter. He singled to left in the third and safe on a fielder's choice again the fourth. He's 1 for 3. Traded to the Cubs in '78 for Woody Fryman, who has been had another banner year in the bullpen for Montreal. And they got him right back. Did the Expos get White after that season for outfielder Sam Mejias, who's now your teammate in Cincinnati. Hit high to center field and playable. Smith in the long part of the yard. So again, the Expos lose an opportunity. No runs, no hits, and they leave a man at third base. After 6 complete innings in Montreal, the Expos 3, the Phillies 1. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Top of the 7th inning, Ron Reed warming up for Philadelphia, the former Notre Dame star, both in baseball and basketball. Played, of course, in the NBA, and he's had a good second half of the season for Philadelphia. The Phil starting pitcher, Carlton, is 3 hitters away as Philadelphia brings up Boa, Trio, and Carlton's spot in the 7th, trailing 3-1.
Now you can play manager at home. Either the first 2 men make out, Boa and Trio. Do you hit for Carlton? He's been struggling, but he's the guy that, in essence, on your pitching staff that's gotten you here to this playoff situation. Do you stick with him? Do you pull him out, try and get the run?
Trailing 3-1, of course, Boa and Trio try to make it academic and get on base where a pinch hitter would represent the tying run. Boa has grounded out both times, pulling the ball to the right side against Rogers. Ball loose in the bullpen, and Jerry White tracking it down. Don't forget tomorrow night, Game 2, right-handers Ruthven against Gullickson, 8 o'clock here on NBC. Ball 1. It's an indication of Rogers' stuff today, Tom Seaver, that he has not thrown a fly ball to the outfield. It's all been groundouts. Let's check that. Yes, there was. 1 in the last inning. I'm sorry. The first fly ball was McBride in the 6th inning.
That was the first out to the outfield. A little pop fly to left field. Rogers pitched a superb game his last start of the regular season against the New York Mets, a 2-hitter. And doing the things that he has to do to be an effective pitcher today. No strikes, keep ahead of his hitters, keep the ball down.
1-1. There it is, a good sinker, and Rogers will take that right on to the bag himself.
Cromartie and Rogers talking it over right there. About where were you? I was looking for you.
Here's the report card on Rogers for 1981. Had 3 shutouts, 7 complete games, 12 wins, only 2 behind the National League leader, Tom Seaver. 6th in the league in innings pitched, so he's the kind of man you send out there and you give the bullpen a rest now and then. Trio has grounded out and walked.
The Phillies do have an on-deck hitter in the on-deck circle. Greg Gross, yes. And he could be pulled back now if Trio does not get on. It does not mean that he's officially in the game just because he's in the on-deck circle. He could just be up there getting ready. Ron Reed in the bullpen, and he's been throwing this entire time. So certainly if Trio does get on for the Phillies, I would think Dallas Green would hit for Carlton.
Another soft ground ball, and Manuel takes care of Trio. Well, that's 6 in a row retired by Rogers, and we'll see now the decision. Yes, it has been made. Greg Gross will bat for Carlton. So Steve Carlton works 6 innings. He allows 3 runs, all earned, 7 hits. He walked 5, and he struck out 6, but didn't strike out a man. the situation, can come off the bench and deliver, as did Unser so wonderfully for the Phils in the playoffs last year. Two-strike pitch. Pitch him away and play him away is apparently the philosophy of Rogers here. The outfield way around toward left for Gross. Set him up inside 2-2.
Rogers did a fine job. There's a shot of the outfield. You see how they pitch him away, in essence play him away. Play him to left field in the outfield. Rogers 2 quick strikes. Breaking ball high and away, and then comes back in hard. Let's see what he does here.
Right down the middle, and it's lifted to right field. Waiting for it to come down is Wallach. And for the second consecutive inning, Steve Rogers mows down the Phils. 1, 2, 3. Stretch half of the 7th inning. They're on their feet at Olympic Stadium with a score 3-1 Expos. And the middle of the batting order, veteran Ron Reed in relief of Steve Carlton. Bottom of the 7th inning, 3-1 Montreal. Reed working in 39 games this year, saving 8, winning 5. He'll face Dawson, who tripled to lead off the last time up, and he tries one up the middle and gets a base hit. Well, Dawson got a kind bounce as that ball hit the infield cutout around second base and kicked high off Boa's glove.
Ball on the AstroTurf going from turf to dirt. Well, some very funny bounces once in a while, Dick, especially when the infield is wet. Fastball down and in, he beats it right into the ground, and the ball will goes from dirt to dirt and accelerates off that second dirt part, just one off the tip of Larry Boa's glove.
So the Expos maintain their mark of having at least one base runner in every inning today. Gary Carter, an RBI double and 2 official at-bats.
Several chances, you know, to blow this game wide open. Carlton has been able to shut them down. They conceivably could have scored 6 or 7 runs to that if they'd have gotten a hit in the situation.
Olympic Stadium. And this crowd has enjoyed a fine performance by Rogers and enough offense to lead 3-1. Carter hits it to right and well. McBride it away for the first out. As Larry Parrish comes up, a reminder of his outstanding play back in the 3rd inning to rob Mike Schmidt of a double.
Certainly the defensive play of the game. That's an important run. You see Pete Rose heading for home from third base right there, but there's 2 outs. Parrish got to his feet, threw out Schmidt at first base to end that inning. Defensive play of the game, no question about it.
Parrish with a bat has struck out, walked, and fouled to the catcher. Boy, you see a lot of knees and elbows with Reed on the mound. Veteran right-hander who will be 39 in November.
.225. Nothing tricky about Ron Reed either. Comes right after you. Good hard stuff. Fastball, good slider. Of course, Dawson at first base, always a threat to steal. 26 on the year. There he goes.
He's on his way to third. So Andre Dawson steals second and goes to third on the throwing error by Moreland.
Well, the last time up, Dawson hits the ball down the corner, gets a triple here. Another example of the fine speed from an all-around player. 26
pitching is going to be the key. We know their hitters very well. They know us very well. We're not strangers one to the other, and it's going to be they're stopping our bats and we stopping theirs. And sometimes that might connotate only the big bats, but there are a lot of bats in the lineup, and the pitching will be a very definite key.
Now Jim Fanning has made a move, bringing in Terry Francona to bat for Tim Wallach. It's interesting that they're batting for one another in that Francona was the 1980 College Player of the Year for the University of Arizona, and the man for whom he is batting, Wallach, was the Player of the year before, 79, for Cal State Fullerton. Those two teams winning the collegiate championship. But Francona will not swing the bat. They walk him intentionally. His daddy, of course, 15-year professional veteran Tito Francona, and they really like this kid up here. They say he's got great bat control, and he'll gain more and more power as he grows up, and he plays at 22 like a veteran of 32.
You were talking to Fanning yesterday in the dugout about how this organization, the Expo organization, has gone to the college type of player. They want that kid out of the college. They want that more mature player.
Runners at first and third. That's something we'll develop. Perhaps we can get more into it tomorrow night and give fans an idea of just how many colleges and universities are represented on just the 25 Montreal man roster. And Fanning, one of those who initiated that philosophy, along with John McHale, the general manager. Runners at the corners, 2 out. Dawson at third, Francona at first, and Jerry Manuel, the batter. He sent a soft line to short, struck out, and tried to bunt his way on. Another chance, and the Expos unable to get a run on an out, and they've squandered 3 of those opportunities today. See Moreland moving Rose back behind the runner at first. Francona goes, and they'll give him second. 2 strikes now to Manuel. You're shaking your head, Tom Seaver.
I find that an unusual play. I don't care who the hitter is. Get another man down in scoring position. They're down 3-1 already. A bloop single here, and it's 5-1.
That one back into the crowd, and the count remains 0-2.
You can do that if you want to walk this man and pitch to Chris Spire. That's fine. But you're putting another man in scoring position when you're already 2 runs down. I don't understand that.
Got him to chase a bad ball, and Reed gets out of it with his second strikeout. Some good pitching by Ron Reed. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 men left on base for the Expos. We go to the 8th inning in Montreal. Coming up for the Phils, the leadoff man Smith, and Rose and Francona will stay in the game for Montreal as we go to the 8th inning. He'll play left field. Jerry White will move from left to right field with Wallach out of the game. So the outfield for the Expos, Francona in left, Dawson in center, White in right. Lonnie Smith, 1 for 3 to start things for the Phils in the 8th. They need 2 to tie. And Rogers has retired the last 7 men in order. Not that one. By Parrish. And Smith will settle for a single. Boy, speed is such a great asset. Because of the speed of Smith, Parrish had to play shallow, and by the time he reached for that line drive, it was by him.
Not only the speed of Lonnie Smith, but the speed of that ball coming off the AstroTurf, too. That's a much different play if they're playing on grass, Dick. That's a play that Larry Parrish might make on grass. Get up and throw Lonnie Smith out at first base. But the artificial turf comes to play because of its factor of speed on that one.
So Smith, with his second hit, is aboard, and that brings the tying run to the plate for the Phils here in the 8th. Remember, this is the top run-producing team in the National League, the Phils, and Pete Rose a part of that. He's has a single and a double, 2 for 3 today. Oh, they pick Smith off. How do you do?
You talk about a heads-up play and a guy that's really in the game, Gary Carter. The guy that gets caught with his pants down.
go to the last of the 8th inning, and Chris Byrer had another 30-second ovation for the catch. It was a good catch, but hardly a great play. Boy, the fans really applauding his effort.
Well, the fans are caught up in the enthusiasm of the possibility of winning, except for one, of winning their first postseason game, and they've got to be excited.
Check swing foul, and it's 1-1 to Spire, who also has contributed at the plate today with an RBI double back in the 2nd inning. That's the go-ahead run at the moment. And then he's walked twice, scored another run. Two managers, Fanning and Green. Looking ahead to the 9th inning for Philadelphia, Schmidt, McBride, and Moreland scheduled. With that fastball coming right into your window. 2-1.
Last inning against the Expos, happy-go-lucky guys in the league, too. Always smiling and laughing around that batting cage yesterday, getting on his teammates.
Oops, wild pitch. And Rogers goes to second base. So again, the Expos have a chance to add to the 3-1 lead. And how many opportunities have gone by the board for them?
If they do end up losing, they've got nobody to blame if themselves. They've had a number of players down in scoring position have not been able to blow the game open. Moreland unable to block the ball. It was down in the dirt. Looked like a changeup from Reed.
The Expos have left 10 men on base in the first 7 innings. They have Rogers at second. 1 out, 2-2 pitch. Hit hard and high and foul and way back into the mezzanine.
You can see with that swing that Cromartie definitely trying to go to left field with the ball. Doesn't want to strike out. He's going to put the ball in play. He's got a man in scoring position now. Cromartie's going to wave him on, but the ball didn't bounce very far away from Keith Moreland. A perfect throw to third base. It's not a bad play if you make it. You get to third base with 1 out. Sets up the sacrifice fly possibility. All the different ways to score from third base with 1 out. But when you get thrown out, you get taken out of scoring position as well.
So now the full count to Cromartie. And he's out of there. So Reed works out of trouble in both the 7th and 8th innings. That's his 3rd strikeout. No runs, no hits, no one left. The Phils last call, top of the 9th, and they bring up some big guns. Top of the 9th inning at Olympic Stadium, Montreal. Game 1 of this Eastern Division Series. And Steve Rogers, out pitching Steve Carlton, leads 3-1. And will face Mike Schmidt, Bake McBride, and Keith Moreland. Gary Maddox, somber expression, not in the lineup today for Philadelphia, but of course available as a pinch hitter. Woody Fryman and Jeff Reardon, just in case, warming up in the Expo bullpen. Schmidt 0-for-2, but robbed of a hit at third on a fine play by Larry Parrish back in the 3rd that saved a run. Looking at his hand as if to blame that 4 fingers and a thumb for that last one.
Well, it could have been a hangnail or something, Steve. He'll talk to his finger here. He'll get it all organized. 22 starts this year. There you see the Houston-LA score. Rogers has 22 starts, 7 complete games. Coming into this 9th inning, he's only thrown 100 pitches. Nice cool day, so shouldn't be from being tired if he comes out of the game. He should be plenty strong enough. 2-0 the count. Rogers disgusted with himself not the call of the umpire, and we want to remind you fans that as soon as this game is over, we're going to be switching you to the Astrodome, so you'll be able to see what could be a very dramatic finish again between the Dodgers and the Astros. They're in the 9th inning, no score. Here it's 3-1 Montreal. Big pitch for Rogers. Schmidt taking all the way. Big pitch, big out. Biggest out in the inning for a pitcher is the first out. Sets up the double play should men get on. You got to get the first out of the inning. You don't want to walk the leadoff hitter. 3-1, you're 2 runs ahead. Mike Schmidt can't tie the game up.
Trying to walk here at
blister, too. Or the chill could be the chill. He may not have a good feeling in his fingertips because if it is chilly on the field.
Yeah, the other rule is you bring that tying run up, and you may be out of the game. Grounded hard to Spirer, and he gets it. Oh, Schmidt hit it on the nose, but directly to the Montreal shortstop. 2 outs to go. 3-1 Montreal. It's interesting. You get to the playoffs and pitching. Last night, 1-1 in the 9th. Astros win 3-1. Today they're scoreless. Here, 3-1. Low-scoring games. Third base. McBride still runs well despite knee surgery midseason this year. 1-1. Cromartie meanwhile is deep It would have been much larger, I'm certain, but it has been raining in Montreal since mid-afternoon yesterday and right up to game time today. They're glad they came. 3-1 the score. Hit to left field, and that's another base hit as Vukovich off the bench keeps it alive for Philadelphia. So now the potential winning run comes to the plate, and to the mound goes Jim Fanning.
We talked to Jim Fanning yesterday, sitting down there, casually chatting with him, Dick, you and I, and about his ball club, about his experience of managing. And he said his bullpen has done it for him. Bullpen, the guys down in that bullpen, Jeff Reardon, Woody Fryman, Sosa, every game that they played in, it seemed to be a close game.
And here comes Reardon, the right-hander, acquired from the Mets at midseason in the trade that dealt Ellis Valentine to New York. And the hand building for Steve Rogers as he comes off. It'll go up a few decibels. In the action, the score, Expos 3, Phillies 1. Let's pause for this word. 2 outs in the 9th inning. The Phils, Derek Rogers with hits by Moreland and Vukovich.
A real popular player here for the Montreal Expos. Steve Rogers getting thrown out at third, but he got a fine hand coming off that mound after pitching 8 2/3 innings today. A real competitor. A veteran of this young Montreal staff. He's the player that holds this staff together.
Jeff Reardon, hard-throwing right-hander against Manny Trio with a tying run at first base. 3-1. Expos lead it. Reardon with Montreal, 2 wins, no losses with an ERA. Those numbers are reversed. It was 1.29, not 2.19, so much better even than those numbers would indicate. A 1.29 ERA with Montreal and 2.19 overall. There's Rudy Carpenter, the owner of the Bills, looking for a big base hit from Trio, a man he acquired in a very big trade from the Cubs a couple of years ago.
Either. He's going to come in from the bullpen and go right after you with hard stuff. 2 fastballs away, the first 2 pitches to Manny Trio, and he's behind in a hole, 2-0.
Off the corner, 2-1. On deck, if Del Unser for the Phils, he would hit for the pitcher. 2 out, the 2-1 pitch. Yes, 2-2. 1 around. Here comes the crowd. They're on their feet. 1 strike from victory. Steve Carl